Warfare was changing. No longer were men lining up and just shooting back and forth at each other, digging huge trenches, relying on speed, whether it be airborne assault, paratroopers, or an amphibious assault, storming the beaches. Guerrilla tactics were being used, and with the constant change of how war is done, the other constant is the type of rifles, technology, and upgrades. Eugene Stoner developed a direct impingement gas-operated system in use today. Civilians call the AR-15, Armalite-15, assault rifle, which is ridiculous, M16, M16A1, M4, gas gun. One thing for certain, it's America's rifle. After World War II, the Cold War beginning, the Soviet Union had developed manufactured automatic weapons, all cheap to manufacture, all durable, and all perform well in combat. The United States at the time was developing new weapons, however they couldn't keep up with the arms race. The United States military was looking for something that would be fully automatic and able to keep up with the Soviet Union's AK-47 SKS rifles. They needed a rifle to correct the failures that the M14 had, including using synthetics rather than wood stocks, being that the wood would warp and cause the rifle to not be as accurate or even have malfunctions. The military was looking for a rifle that would be able to be repaired and maintained with minimal amount of tools, simple enough for any basic infantry to do their own repairs in the field if necessary. Also, one that costs less money and able to be mass-produced. So what's the significance with Eugene Stoner? Why does his design stand out so much? Well, this leatherneck served in World War II, became the chief engineer of Armalite, whom he worked for quite some time, developing majority of the firearms that he has patents for. At the time, all of the autoloaders and fully automatic weapons relied on a short-stroke gas piston. Stoner's design of the direct impingement, basically what it is you're using the bolt carrier as your piston to recycle and continue firing. Gas will go down the barrel, through the port, through the gas tube, and back to the receiver and push the bolt carrier back into the buffer pin. This technology was able to make it easier to maintain for infantry in the field, less parts to worry about, and is also lighter because it used aircraft-grade aluminum and polymer blends, for the furnitures and things like that. Although Armalite and Eugene Stoner's AR-10 wasn't selected in 1955 and 1956 because it was entered late in the proving ground, and they chose the M14 over it, the AR-10's design was later licensed to a Dutch firm or artillery company, which was produced until 1960 for various military forces around the world. At the request of the United States military, Stoner's chief assistant, Robert Fremont, along with Jim Sullivan, designed the Armalite AR-15 from the basic AR-10 model, scaling it down to fire a .223 Remington cartridge. The AR-15 was later adopted by the United States military forces as the M16 rifle. After Armalite sold the right team to Colt, Stoner turned his attention to the AR-16 design, which was another 7.62mm rifle, but used a more conventional short-stroke piston and a number of stamped parts to reduce costs. Weapon only saw prototype development, but adaptation to the .223 Remington resulted in somewhat successful and often imitated Armalite AR-18. In 1964, the XM16E1 entered service as the M16, deployed for jungle warfare operations in Vietnam. There were a slight few problems, and by 1969 they had already redeveloped the M16 into the M16A1, replacing the M14 rifle as standard service. They had added the bolt forward assist. The barrel bore was to be lined with chrome, reinforced the magazine well and release, as well as revised the muzzle attachments for flash hiders. Iron sights were pinned on, polymer buttstock, buffer tube, pistol grip, and aluminum-lined polymer or leather foregrips chambered in 5.56 NATO, can shoot 700 to 800 rounds per minute. Detachable magazines available in 5, 10, and 20 rounds, effective at 550 yards, carry handle rear sight, and disruptor safety and semi-automatic and automatic switch. Eugene Stoner eventually left Armalite and began working for Colt. as a consultant. There were upgrades done. 1983, and the U.S. Marine Corps adopted the M16A2 rifle. The Army adopted it in 1986. The M16A2 fires the improved 5.56 NATO round, has a new adjustable rear sight, case deflector, heavy barrel, improved handguard, pistol grip and buttstock, as well as semi-automatic 3-round burst fire selector. And it was adopted in 1997, the M16A4, fourth generation of the series, and it was equipped with removable carrying handle and quad picatinny. The M16 has been widely adopted by other armed forces around the world. Worldwide production of M16s is approximately 8 million, making it the most produced firearm in the 5.56 caliber. U.S. military has largely replaced the M16 in frontline combat units with the shorter, lighter version, the M4 carbine. And if you have more interest in Eugene Stoner's personal life, check out our other Gunfather videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.